Hi, I'm Karey Ford Moranci. I'm one of the co-owners of Firefly Counseling Collective, and we have a podcast about all things we find fascinating in the world of therapy. Soon, we're going to have a conversation with Karey, who is also a play therapist and has a specialization in working with neurodivergent populations. I'll bring her in.
Hold on.
Hi,
Let me figure
Karey.
this out. Here we go. Hi.
Welcome. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
I
zoom.
just I know. I just did an introduction. And
Uh-huh.
so, certainly, if you wanted to say anything in particular about yourself, your specialization, now would be the time.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning. Glad to be here. I'm Karey Steiner. I am a clinical social worker, and I have, I think now 17 years experience.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I might be dating myself a little bit, but I've had a lot of experience working with children, young children, teenagers in the school setting, community setting, and clinical setting. And so that's kind of my area of
That's
focus.
great. What would you say, just because people do like to ask a lot, I
Mhm.
find when they come into counseling, what would you say your most common modalities are that you use with children and families?
Oh, I mean, that's tough because it really depends on the age group and what
Hmm.
the client's need is. It's really mostly a combination of semi-structured child-centered,
Mm-hmm.
play-based therapy, taking the child's lead. It's always taking the child's lead, no matter what age they are, really, ultimately. And working with the parents to set up whatever their main concerns or goals are based off
Awesome.
of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. No, that sounds good. So, what would you find in play therapy is your favorite activity, depending on the age? What's your, I mean, and we can say, because we're not talking about specific clients, like, what would you say your favorite demographic is to do play therapy with? What do you most enjoy about it?
Probably early elementary school. They really express through what they're doing, the level of honesty,
Mm-hmm.
and when they're experiencing or learning new things, the joy they have with that, and the
Oh,
incredible amount of, yeah,
that's
yeah.
so exciting. And then how do you feel when you do family sessions? How do you feel their parents integrate themselves into that experience? Are they willing to play generally?
It depends. Sometimes I have to be direct about that and just say, hey, we're gonna just work on playing together today. And that's okay. Like, see where it goes. Go with the
Nice.
flow. Yeah.
Oh, good. And then, Karey, do you ever incorporate art therapy or art activities in that
Uh
regard with adults
express
more or children?
expressive modalities. Absolutely. I mean, especially for teenagers and adults. Um, and really there's a relaxation component to it. I think people really just focus better when they're doing something with their hands.
Hmm.
uh Similarly to, like, people just like to kind of play with the sand. I find that
Oh,
some
yeah.
of my teenagers really love coloring. And I actually have somebody that's been working on kind of like 3D expressive
Mm-hmm.
stuff at home. So through a dollhouse that they were provided and given, they're
Wow.
creating essentially a 3D collage at home. And
Oh,
that
exciting.
yeah, it's been amazing seeing their progress, how it links to them, their self-expression with that. Yeah, so it's across the lifespan.
So it really is a holistic practice then too, because if they're using parts of their body and somatic awareness, they're
Mhm.
calming or keeping their parasympathetic system calm in order to maybe process difficult things intellectually.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
that's exciting. So, what do you find you advise parents to do most frequently? Are there resources that you give or suggest? Are there trainings that you've taken that you just think are the bee's knees? What keeps you excited about the field of play therapy?
Um, I mean, I'm thinking about a couple different things there. I'm thinking about when I have families come in initially, they're wanting tools. They're
Oh,
wanting me to get them tools. But ultimately, like parents are already using some of that tools. So it's creating some awareness of what's working for that child already, and then kind
mm,
of honing in on that.
mm,
So what I've really been excited about reading lately, which aligns with increasing children's self-awareness, vocabulary, introception. There's a book I have been reading, and I kind of link to some of those tools that parents are already using and ones we talk about in session. And so currently, what I'm really excited about and been reading, using a lot of, is brain body parenting, how to stop managing behavior and start raising joyful, resilient kids. So,
beautiful.
yes, yes, I love it. Currently, I've been pulling a lot from that. The author talks about various developmental stages, and ultimately, like early development informs later development in adulthood and vice versa, but it links into the polyvagal theory and really observing where our child's at through their physical cues and how they're responding. We can ultimately tailor what tools are going to work for children.
That's amazing. But I wonder if there are also, books like Permission to Feel that I
Mhm.
give to adults all the time would help them then access, if they're given literally permission to feel their feelings. I wonder if they then give themselves permission to also play and be more creative in trying to solve life's problems.
Yeah, I think there does need some permission around that, like
Yeah.
expressly, like saying, like, it's okay to feel your feels. And kids,
Yeah.
children, teens, even adults, we really need to hear that. Yeah, it's okay to
Yeah.
be it.
Well, and how do you incorporate, if you incorporate reparenting, how do you have that conversation with adults in your practice about needing to reparent the wounded child within us?
Really, like, I've got Mr. Rodgers in the background, and I just think about how he emphasized the importance of remembering what it was like to be that age, to be that child,
Oh,
how it
yeah.
felt. Yes. Kind of
He
thinking about
oh yeah, Fred
go ahead.
Rodgers, he was such a good role model for being so playful and joyful, that he, not only really encourages people always to look for the helpers when there is a crisis, but also his whole tone and the way he had that sing song way of facilitating his show, I think really spoke to people's hearts.
Mhm.
You can't be all tied up in knots when you're listening to Mr. Rogers. You're open, warm. He literally removes his sweater. So you're prone to like kind of letting your guard down and maybe peeling back the layers.
I love that analogy. Yeah.
He's what a great person he was. Wow, I love that. Yeah, so adults can really relate to him and then remember the joy in their own childhood that hopefully they can incorporate into the struggles of adulthood.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And even like as far as modeling, if you think about Mr. Rogers and just be or adults figures that are calming, it's something about their tone of voice, their volume of their voice, You know, he's talked at his speed where it was ideal for kids to process,
Yeah.
ideal for kids to process and learn, and adults bring up Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because in thinking about expressive arts, I can't help but pair in my mind Mr. Rogers with Bob Ross. I think because of the
Yes.
timing. But again, I love telling myself it's okay to make happy little mistakes, and you just keep painting. I actually had a fourth grade art teacher who taught me that in different words, but that there are no mistakes in art. You just work around it or work with whatever happened. And so I think that's what Bob Ross taught me, but I'm more open and receptive because his voice, as monotone as it may seem at times, is really calming and soothing. So I'm so glad you brought up that example. That's really funny.
And there's a lot that we can learn and go back to through, really through art and play. I
Yeah.
mean, adults play. We need more time for that.
And all we have to do, I think Amanda, a person who does yoga therapy through Firefly counseling, she reminded me that the activities that I enjoyed as a child will be life-giving as an adult. I just have to find a swing set. If swinging was my favorite activity, then when I'm most stressed out, I just need to go find a swing set and take a few minutes to swing or rock myself, basically.
So like you already know deep down what you need to do to facilitate
Mhm.
that healing, some of that regrounding,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
regulation.
Right. And kids are so, I see what you're saying about kids really teaching us and leading the way for adults, because I think so much of adulthood makes us forget how
Mm.
joyful we were as children. But if we can use expressive arts and paint, or if we can find a playground to climb on, or if we can take a dance class, those are all the things that if we were privileged enough as a child to have a teacher lead us, in those activities, then we can go back to it anytime. It won't look the same, but I think the real crux for adults is giving themselves permission to be playful.
Yes, yes. Going back to
Mhm.
their dreams and desires when they were younger, that inner child piece,
Yeah.
finding enjoyment, finding connection in different ways,
Hmm.
themselves and others. Yeah.
Well, only because I just mentioned Amanda, and
Yeah.
you and I have done
Yes.
some restorative yoga practices together.
Yes.
How do you find that yoga enhances your own therapeutic practice?
Really speaking to the piece of slowing things down,
Oof.
paying attention. Yeah. Shifting.
Slowing things down and paying attention. I love that. That's good. Is there anything else? We like to keep these podcasts short, but
Okay.
is there anything else that you want to leave us with in terms of play therapy, or also how to reach you for referrals?
Um, and play therapy, ultimately play is being in it, being with the child, taking their lead, whether you're the parent or the therapist,
Yes.
following their lead. And that is so important. And think about the tools you already have in place. As far as if you'd like to contact me, my website is innergrowthandhealing.com. Or you can find me on Psychology Today, searching Karey Steiner in Bel Air. And
Perfect.
yeah.
Easy peasy. That's so great. Do you currently have openings, and are you seeing people in person or via telehealth?
So I'm seeing people a mix of in-person and telehealth.
Great.
Yeah. And as far as openings right now, currently no openings, but I'm anticipating as the school year starts back up that there will be. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, wow. Well, Karey, I can't thank you enough for joining me today.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
appreciate
Great to be
it.
here.
Yeah, it was great hearing your perspective on things. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. All right.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.